Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today we're going to be talking about Firestarter. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. Uh, as you see here from the poster, this is based on Stephen King's masterpiece. So, this was based off of a novel. In fact, this is the second adaptation of this novel. The first came out in 1984. God, every time I hear 1984 now, I think of that OJ clip where he's like, "This is like George Orwell's book, 1984." This is what I get for watching too much Dumbsville. Anyway, so the original, I guess the first adaptation of this was in 1984. Starred Drew Barrymore as a child. I did not know that. That shocked me when I found out. But yeah, so this is the second time they're doing this. And with Stephen King, like a lot of his adaptations have been turned into movies. There are too many to count. um, but a decent amount of them have been very successful. They've been praised. They've been seen as fantastic movies. Movies like Carrie, The Shining. Trying to think of some others. Misery is another one. Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, uh, It from 2017. That's just like a few. Like It 2017 being easily the biggest of all the Stephen King adaptations. And yeah, there's a lot of success here. I mean, even some like smaller ish movies like 1408, have done pretty decent. Or so, yeah. Yeah, Stephen King obviously has a lot of clout. He has made way too many novels, which has also been adapted into way too many movies. But he is one of the most well-known authors out there, easy. And yeah, so having his name attached to something like this isn't a bad thing at all. So, especially in recent times. So, I'll consider that a pro, having Stephen King's name attached to this, him being like one of the most prolific authors of all time. So, yeah, that's pro number one. Pro number two is from Blumhouse, as it also says on the poster. They made The Invisible Man, which was one of the last successful movies we had before COVID hit. So there's that. But yeah, Blumhouse, Jason Blum, like very prolific when it comes to horror movies. There's so many here. It's nuts. It's crazy. We gotta go all the way back. Just keep scrolling. Okay, from like the first Paranormal Activity movie. And then they made the Paranormal Activity sequels, and there's the Insidious movies, and there's Sinister, the Purge movies. Some minor ones like Oculus. They produced Whiplash. I don't know if any of you know that. There's Ouija, an awful, awful movie that made a lot of money. Some meh ones that did all right, like Unfriended, Lazarus Effect, The Boy Next Door, The Gift, which I actually heard is pretty decent. The Visit, the Gem and the. I'll talk about that when we get to the cons because that's a funny one. Um, Split, Get Out, two massive successes. And recently, the Happy Death Day, another big hit for them. Truth or Dare, that did well. The recent Halloween movies have done extremely well. And yeah, just a long history of, and finally The Invisible Man, which made quite a bit of cash before COVID killed it. So yeah, long history of success for Blumhouse. So they obviously have a lot of clout too. So they're a pro, like their name is a pro here. But for both Stephen King and Blumhouse, there is a con to both of them, but I'll talk about that later. Okay, so those are the first two pros. Another pro is that we haven't had a horror movie in the marketplace since. Oh God. Oh. I I'm trying to remember. I really am. There was like this really obscure one I did like in March. There was X, and then there was also this weird one, Amma. I did both. Those came out like the same weekend, so that was like March 18th. So like a good month and a half since that. So this movie has no direct competition for a while. I think. Well, I guess there's Men, which is technically like a folk horror. So I guess there's that. But when it comes to direct competition right now, there's really none. So that's a pro, obviously. Um, that's it. That's literally it. Okay, cons. Ooh, okay. Stephen King. Now, I already mentioned some of his successful movies, It 2017, Misery, The Shining, uh, Carrie, 1408. Like, that's just a few. But he's had some bombs, too. Quite a bit of those as well. Or at least some underperformers. Uh, let's see. Doctor Sleep. That was the last Stephen King movie we got. That did really bad. Despite being a sequel to The Shining, that did pretty terrible. Objectively terrible. So, yeah, that was a yikes. What else? There's like that Pet Sematary movie. That did fine, I guess. Dark Tower, that did pretty lackluster. So, yeah, that whole movie was a mess. Uh, It was Carrie from 2013 with like Chloe Grace Moretz. I didn't think that movie was too bad. That movie only did okay. Dreamcatcher, that's an infamous one. That was a bomb and easily one of the worst Stephen King movies. So trying to find some others. I'm looking at this off screen. I had to go on Wikipedia to find like a whole list of these movies. But yeah, so Stephen King's track record when it comes to his movies, it's not flawless. He's had some bombs, some of them pretty recent, relatively recent. So yeah, Stephen King's name does not automatically mean success. It can mean success, doesn't mean it's guaranteed. So that's a con. Blumhouse. Let's go back to Blumhouse. I already listed all their successes. Let me list all their bombs or all their disappointments. I can't be too harsh towards Freaky, because that came out at a time where nobody was going to the movie theater, so that gets a pass from me. Halloween Kills and Forever Purge did fine. They did alright. The Hunt, I'm also going to be pretty lax towards that because, again, came out the same weekend as the pandemic. Uh, Fantasy Island, that was a really bad one, but it was only a success because of its budget. Black Christmas 2019. Good God, man. I never want to think about that movie ever again. I never watched it, but I saw a long review of it from Chris Stuckman. I watched that whole thing, and I was like, I will never watch this movie because it looks horrendous, and it's just truly awful. So yeah, I'm glad it failed. Um, don't Let Go, that didn't do anything. Ma did fine. Happy Death Day 2 underperformed, but it still made a profit. Glass underwhelmed a bit, but still made a profit. Uh, Unfriended Dark Web only cost like $1 million, so how can you fail after $1 million? Upgrade did Trying to look at some others. Birth of the Dragon, oof. Um, Lowriders, oof. Slight, oof. Belko Experiment, oof. Ouija Origin of Evil did okay. It did fine. The Darkness didn't do too great. Gem and the Holograms. Oh man, that is a hilarious failure. That whole movie. It died after 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It did so bad that it was pulled after theaters from 2 weeks. That should tell you all you need to know about that. Sinister 2 did meh compared to the first. The Gallows did eh. Well, I guess it did fine, but no one remembers that movie at all. I certainly don't. Uh, and some other ones. I guess Dark Skies another one. Yes, but so there are a lot of underperformers and some straight up bombs in here, but the only reason why these underperformers didn't lose money is because they were insanely cheap to make. That's the thing with Blumhouse. They don't spend a lot of money on their movies. That way, if the movie doesn't do great, they won't lose too much money. It's a really good business strategy. It's very solid business strategy. So I gotta give them kudos for that. But still, their track record isn't flawless either. So yeah, a not so flawless track record. That's a con too. So that's con number two. Con number three. As you can see on the screen on the poster, it says in theaters and streaming only on Peacock. That's a problem because as we saw the last year, these hybrid movies where they play in theaters and on streaming services wasn't very successful in the grand scheme of things. In fact, it was kind of a disaster. I mean, just look at HBO Max and what happened with that last year. So that's like a prime example of this not working out too great. I mean, some movies did fine. Some movies were able to succeed because of this. Dune last year was able to. Godzilla vs Kong was able to. Um, some other ones that did the same thing. Halloween Kills, which was also on Peacock, that did pretty well considering the circumstances. The Paw Patrol movie on Paramount Plus did fine. None of the Disney Plus streaming movies did really good. So, but yeah, overall, this whole hybrid strategy, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work at all. And I don't see this working for this either because just a long history. Well, not long, but just a lot of movies just not working because of this strategy. So, yeah, that's a con. The whole release of it on Peacock, that's a con. And the biggest con of all, the reviews, they are horrible. Last I checked on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie was at a 14%. That is a death sentence for pretty much any movie. And if that wasn't bad enough, the audience score is also pretty dismal. It's like at 46%, which you can say, oh, that's better than the critic score. But when an audience score is that low, that means the movie is pretty trash. That's guaranteed. It's guaranteed to be trash. And I had a feeling this movie was going to be trash anyway because the review embargo lifted so stupidly late. Like we're talking the day like before it was supposed to go in theaters, like in a few hours, there were no reviews on the site. That is a instant red flag. The same thing happened with Morbius. So whenever you see that, whenever you see like a movie supposed to come out in like a few hours, like on a Thursday night, and there are no reviews, it's bad. It's likely going to be it's 100% likely going to be a bad movie, and that's the case here. And the thing is, like going back to Peacock, like technically I own Peacock. I bought Peacock. I could watch this movie right now, but because of that reaction that I've been hearing, I don't want to watch it, even though I literally could right now at this very moment. So I don't think this movie's gonna do well in theaters. I don't even think it's gonna do that well on Peacock. It might for like a weekend and then it just dies off real fast. So yeah. Reviews, audience reaction, bad. And I expect the cinema score to be pretty bad too. I'm expecting like a C, D, maybe an F. Because I heard the ending is pretty horrendous. And when your ending is bad, that is going to negatively affect the whole movie. So yeah. Reviews, reaction, bad. Con. Massive, massive con. I guess I can mention like the ad campaign. It's there. Like I've seen ads for this on YouTube pretty enough, but it's not exactly a strong marketing campaign. It's not exactly aggressive. So yeah, like the marketing campaign is kind of just like a mid ground where it's not bad, but it's not good either. So it's like mid ground. So yeah, there's that. So opening weekend. Now couple weeks before this movie came out, I thought, okay, maybe this movie might hit double digits. It might hit 10 million, maybe. Oh, I didn't even mention the Thursday preview numbers. They're not listed here, but it made like 375,000 in Thursday preview numbers, which is not great at all. It's pretty dismal. So that's another con right there. But because of that, yeah, that 10 million prediction, well that's done. That's not going to happen. I'm starting to think like 5 million is a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to have a bit of a wide range. I think it's going to open between 3 and to 5 million dollars. I think that's where it's going to land opening weekend wise, and then its total, I I'd be amazed if it went past 10, judging by the word of mouth. I expect this movie to crumble very fast because of said awful word of mouth. So, yeah, yeah. And then that's it. So, yeah. So that's Firestarter. And that's it for the weekend. Just two movies. And next weekend, another two movies. And then another two movies after that. So next week I do Down Abbey: A New Era, and I also do Men. So that should be interesting, well, somewhat interesting. And then the end of the month I do the Bob's Burgers movie, and then Top Gun Maverick, which is looking more and more and more like a smash hit every day. Can't wait to talk about that and discuss that. But yeah, so stay tuned for all those videos. But anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got playlists on the homepage for all previous prediction videos I made this year. Um, I haven't covered too many horror movies this year. I mean, the main one we've really gotten, the only one that's been successful, has been Scream 5, and that's it. So, but I mean, X did okay for like a low budget, but after that, it's just legitimately depressing. I'm hoping things get better with the horror genre, like as the year goes on. It should, but yeah, if you want to watch any of those videos, go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out, but didn't for various reasons. I just did an episode yesterday where I talked about Bullet Train. I talked about two anime movies coming out this summer, Deer King and Dragon Ball Superhero. Also another movie, Cocaine Bear, which I don't think anyone's going to watch when it does come out. So I did that for episode 125. When it comes to Firestarter, I talked about it once. And that was this year when it was announced to come out in May. And that was like in February, I think. I'm pretty sure it was February. Let me check very quickly. Because I know it was very recent. That was February. That was literally 3 months ago when it was announced. Like, that seems really extreme to announce a movie and then, like, literally 3 months before it's supposed to come out. That's really weird. But, um, yeah, so that was episode 106. So if you want to watch that episode, go right ahead. And all the others, all 125 episodes, go right ahead. I encourage it. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. May recap will come out the beginning of June. So right here, like that first weekend, which is pretty much a dead weekend anyway, so that makes things really easy for me. And it helps that there's not too many movies to talk about in May. There's only 7. So it won't be it shouldn't be a lengthy video. So yeah, stay tuned for that video. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.